Hi, I'm Steve Owens and welcome to Steve's Kitchen. Today we're making that classic Italian dish, gnocchi. Now there are two different camps, whether you use egg or not. I'm going to share which one I prefer and show you both methods. Now we are going to want potatoes. I've got a video up showing how to make baked potatoes. I like to do it with baked. You can do boiled, but it's important to leave the skin on because we don't want the potato, the flesh, to get too wet. So let's get on. I'll show you how I make simple gnocchi. Now a quick word about the potatoes that we're going to use. You want a fairly floury potato. This one has been baked. You could boil them, as I say, with the skins on, but they need to be boiled until they're lovely and tender. You see how soft that is? Now if you use a baked potato like this, we leave the skin on, but we just cut the potato in half and you can scoop the flesh out using a spoon. Just drag that flesh out of there. Now once you've boiled or baked your potatoes, you can either mash them with a regular masher. There are ricers like this or this type where you force it through. And you do want to get that potato finely mashed. So you could use a fork. I mean, it takes a little bit of extra work, but you could cream it down with a fork like that. Or you can use one of these ricers and just push it through and it comes out nice and fine. Whatever way you decide to do, no lumps in the potato at all. Now the beauty of doing fresh baked potatoes, and I've just peeled the skins off of these hot ones here, is that they rice beautifully or they mash beautifully. Now there are two different camps when it comes to making gnocchi. There are some regions where they like to add the egg into the gnocchi, and there are some camps where the egg is absolutely and strictly banned. Now I'm going to show you both methods today. They both make great gnocchi and I'll explain to you what the differences are. Come on, let's get going. As you get to make a gnocchi on a regular basis, you'll get a feel for the different type of consistency. If you're going to be using egg, you need a little extra flour. I usually go about 30%, so I've got a pound here or about 500 grams, so I'm going for 150 grams of all-purpose flour. That's about 5 ounces of all-purpose flour. I'm just going to make a little hole in the middle there. Now season this well. Want plenty of salt in there. I like to put a bit of black pepper in as well, and that's optional. I'm not going to use the egg white, I'm just going for the egg yolk. Lots of people use the whites. I think it makes it a little bit tougher. Now if you really wanted to, you could add other herbs into this now, but I'm just going for a nice simple gnocchi. I'm just going to break that egg yolk, start to mix it through, and then I'm going to get my hands in there and start to draw this gnocchi flour together. Don't overwork the dough, but you want to keep working until it draws together into a nice soft dough. Now this is not a dough we want to overwork. Once you've incorporated the egg and the flour, and don't worry if there's little specks of egg in there, that's quite normal. We'll set that aside, that's ready to start using for our gnocchi. Now let's get and make our egg-free gnocchi. I've got a pound of 500 grams of our potato here. Again, I'm going to season it, a little black pepper, a decent pinch of salt. But this time we're going to use a lot less flour, probably about 10 to 15%. That's about 50 grams, say, to a couple of ounces. And we're just going to work that flour gently in to our potato until it starts to bind together. So just enough flour to start to draw this together into a beautiful, soft, not too sticky dough. And then that is ready to start making gnocchi with as well. And now we're going to get and make our little gnocchi snakes. Now you can see the two doughs. That's a lot more yellow, the one with the egg in it. Pop it on the side. I'm going to break off or just trim off a little bit of my dough. Now I'm not using plain flour. I'm going to use a little bit of corn flour just to dust the surface of my board here. And then I'm going to start to roll out. So I just roll from the middle out like that until I get this wonderful little rope of pasta like this. I'm actually just going to cut this one in half. So now I've got two little snakes like that. I'm just going to use this cutter now and just cut, trim them off into little pieces, probably about so big. I can't really explain the exact size. It doesn't matter if they vary a little bit inside, by the way. And there are little gnocchis there. Now I want to shape them. There's a reason we do this. And you can get these wonderful little gnocchi boards. I put a little bit of flour on there, just to stop everything from sticking, or you can use the back of a fork. The great thing with the little gnocchi board is we just pop the gnocchi on there and you can just roll it down. You get these wonderful little grooves in there, and that's what's going to absorb all the flavor when we start to cook it. Now you'll notice when you start using the egg-based gnocchi that it is a firmer dough. It's quite different, and that's why I think people find the non-egg based gnocchi a little harder to make. It's a much more delicate pasta. But one thing you do notice with this particular dough is it's that little bit firmer. You can put a little extra pressure onto it when you're rolling it down the board and get these little curves, which you can't do with the plain potato gnocchi. If you haven't got a board like this, is just take a fork and just roll the gnocchi down the back of the fork. That's not a very good one. But anyway, you get the idea. You get a very similar effect, little gnocchis like that. But it is very easy if you've got a board like this just to get on and make as many gnocchis as you want. With this one, you can get this classical little scoop in the back of the gnocchi because it is a more elastic dough. So there you have it. There is my plain potato gnocchi. There is my egg gnocchi. And you can see there is a difference in the actual color, but there's actually a difference in the texture. The potato one tends to be a lot lighter. It absorbs more flavor. The egg one can keep those lovely shapes. It's a little bit tougher, but they have a different characteristic. Which one do you prefer? Now they cook in exactly the same way, so let's get these on the stove. So I've got some boiling, lightly salted water here over on the stove. Just take a small amount of the gnocchi, not too much. We drop it in there, give the pan a little shake around so it doesn't stick. Now it isn't going to take long for these to cook. As soon as the gnocchi come up to the top, they're pretty much done. Now as soon as the gnocchi comes up to the top like that, count to 10 and it is ready to serve. And exactly the same procedure with a plain potato gnocchi. Now the next step we're going to keep very simple. Gnocchi is a simple dish and it can be made delicious just like this. This is going to be fresh and very simple. We're just going to take some olive oil, pop it in the bottom of a pan. I pop a knob of butter in there as well. 1 clove of garlic. Just going to squeeze that into my oil. And that's just going to flavor that oil up. We don't want that to cook for too long. The smell coming off there is absolutely delicious. Now a little bit of diced tomato in there as well. A pinch of salt, a little bit of black pepper. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. In goes my gnocchi. I'm going to actually use both the gnocchi. We'll get that coated over with the oils. Some chopped parsley. A little grated Parmesan cheese in there as well. Now I don't mind if the gnocchi browns a little bit. Actually that will be perfect. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of thick cream in. And that pretty much is it. Simple. The smell coming off here is absolutely delicious. Let's bring that over to the side here and just pop it into a bowl. I mean, doesn't that look absolutely delicious? A few fresh leaves of basil just to add some flavor, maybe a little decoration on the top. And there you have it. There is my homemade, simple and delicious fresh gnocchi. Here goes. I'm the lucky one that's going to be trying this. I wish I could share it with you. I hope you give making gnocchi yourself at home a go next time you've got leftover potatoes, or if you just want to make it straight from scratch. It's very simple and it tastes delicious. Here goes. That is absolutely fantastic. And I promise you, I would tell you which I prefer. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm darned if I'm gonna get involved in the argument of which is best. They both taste absolutely fantastic in my mind, so get on and try them both yourself. I'll leave some links to some other videos up here. I love to hear your comments. Please subscribe to the channel, stay in touch, and I'll see you next time. Be good.